A cell has various cellular components. These components are developed under various environmental conditions, which helps a cell to survive and process various metabolic activities depending upon the environment in which the cell is. The first cell on Earth might have developed about 4 billion years ago from primordial soup complex, which consisted of carbon-rich chemical compounds. This primordial soup in early Earth might have developed after mixture of various gases which were released in the atmosphere by frequent volcanic eruption in the early Earth and frequent lighting. However, the first cells on Earth were remarkably simple. The early cells, often referred as last universal common ancestor Luca, gave rise to modern life on Earth. Photosynthesis evolved around 3 billion years ago on Earth. The cellular components are also called cell organelles. These cell organelles include both membrane and non-membrane bound organelles, present within the cells, and are distinct in their structures and functions. Their coordination is important for normal functioning of the cell. A few of them function by providing shape and support, whereas some are involved in the locomotion and reproduction of a cell. A cell, just like any other living organism, would need to digest its food and reproduce for the continuation of its species, if the cell is from an unicellular organism, and for the normal functioning of the tissues if the cell is from a multicellular organism, as aged cells or infected cells don't function properly, so they need to be replaced by new cells. Therefore, the cells in multicellular organisms have developed a mechanism for their self-destruction. This self-destruction of cells is known as apoptosis. Apoptosis is done by lysosomes. Lysosomes secrete various enzymes which destroy cells which are infected so that the neighboring cells don't get infected. The first cell on early Earth might have developed about 4 billion years ago from various gases which were released in the atmosphere by frequent volcanic eruption in the early Earth and frequent lighting, which might have resulted in the formation of primordial soup, which consisted of various amino acids and various other hydrocarbon compounds, which might have resulted in the formation of the first cell and the first common ancestor. Various unicellular organisms arose from the first common ancestor, including various bacteria and viruses. These bacteria and viruses developed various modes of nutrition which include photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, bacteria can create its own food by using sunlight and by using pigments like chlorophyll or bacteria chlorophyll. Bacteria like cyanobacteria, that is blue-green algae, depends upon this method of nutrition. Some bacteria depends on decomposition for their nutrition, like soil bacteria, which depends upon fallen leaves and organic debris. This kind of bacteria breaks down dead organisms and organic matter with their enzymes into nutrients which they can consume. Chemotrophs depends on energy from chemical reaction rather than light. For example, nitrifying bacteria converts ammonia to nitrate in soil. Some bacteria establishes mutualistic relationship or symbiotic relationship with the host for survival, just like how nitrogen-fixing bacteria in legume root nodules establishes symbiotic relationship with the host plant by providing the host plant with much needed nitrogen. Parasitic bacteria like Escherichia coli or Staphylococcus aureus and other parasitic bacteria harm the host. Vibrio attaches to the host cell and feeds on its cyst. This predatory bacteria contributes to the distribution of nutrients in the soil. Lysibacter act as a group to hunt their prey using enzymes and cytoskeleton fangs to feed on other bacteria. Bacteria have developed various defense mechanisms to protect themselves from pathogens. Many bacteria use CRISPR-Cas system to defend against viral infections. In CRISPR-Cas system, bacteria incorporate short DNA fragments from phages into their own genome. These fragments of viral DNA are called spacers. When these bacteria are reinfected, these spacers allow the bacteria to recognize and destroy phage DNA, preventing the replication of the virus within the bacteria. Bacteria can communicate with neighboring cells about stressors like antibiotics, which helps unaffected bacteria prepare for threats and spread the warning signal. Some bacteria form sticky biofilms that protect against antimicrobial agents. They also produce alarmone proteins on their surface, activating nearby bacteria for collective defense. Some species of these unicellular organisms were driven to extinction by other predatory unicellular organisms, while other species which had developed mechanisms to fight off their predator survived and eventually grew bigger and formed the first multicellular organisms due to abundance of food.